Oh, wow, the camera's a little close on me. I don't get it. Okay, here we go. Good night, everyone. I'm back. This is Nancy Pierre, CEO of We Care, Home Care and Training Services. This is another episode of We Care, Home Care 101, My Caregiver Story. Today was I'm going to say a little difficult day. Um, it's really cold here in the Northeast, and uh, everything that could go wrong went wrong. My mother's her regular caregiver over the last 3 years. She's very sick, has a pretty bad cold, not feeling well. And the backup uh, uh, she came out to start her car, and her car was dead. You know, uh, that happens, in the cold. And so I spent a good portion of my morning trying to locate someone who would come in to make sure my mom's okay, um, get her something to eat, get the day started. And it took a long time for me to do that because, it's inclement weather. It's last minute. It wasn't a nice sunny day. So people weren't waiting for me to reach out to them for this purpose. Um, I'm saying it happens. So this is not the first time that it happened. But it's always, I think I talk about it being taxing. And for me, I'm in New Jersey, my mother's in New York. So I'm not, I can't say, oh, well, I didn't get anybody, I'm going to go do it myself. Um, because by the time I get there, it's a considerable ride for me to get to her. So, um, yeah, I wanted to say that. And I know I was launching into um, my next uh, uh, chapter of my caregiver story, really kind of going through setting up the appropriate environment to provide services, and that's something that's really important. And like I said previously, that is going to be different for each individual, for each family. That's going to be different for where you live, the accommodations where you live, and what's needed based on what's going on physically, emotionally, cognitively for the individual who needs care, who needs home care, who needs services. Um, uh, I think I described a little bit about my mom being bedbound, not being able to do anything for herself because she can't get out the bed to do that. She can't bear weight on her legs to be able to do that. Um, so that's a considerable life change. And because of that physical change, there's a lot of different things that we needed to do with her home to make it livable, to make it accessible to caregivers to provide that service to her. One of the things that we had to do is make sure she had a hospital bed. And before I go into what they call the DME, the durable medical equipment, um, I'm just going to talk about the space a little bit. My mom, she lives in a two-story home where her bedroom, the master bedroom, was up on the second floor. And since she left in 2021, she has not been back up to that room. And that's a considerable change because I know, my room is a place of solitude. It's a place where, you make it and construct it to provide that comfort to yourself or for yourself. And so there had to be a lot of um, restructuring to her living space. So the ground floor, which would be like the porch, the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen. The dining room became her bedroom, where we set up a hospital bed, uh, oxygen tank in case she needs oxygen tank, different shelving for all of the supplies, and a, a television, where she can use technology in the remote and speak and say, Google, to the Google Assistant, please put it on YouTube so that she can access her church service. And, putting certain things within her reach to make that possible. Um, uh, what's that? The Amazon Alexa. Yeah, Amazon Alexa, so that she can access the Ring doorbell and see who's at the front door. Um, Making sure that her cell phone is at her reach and her grasp, and that her ability to plug it in and charge it is at her grasp, so that she doesn't worry about having a phone that dies on her. So these are, like, I'm going to say, minute details in a way, but these details are what allows her to have some autonomy. These details allow her to have some level of independence. Um, when somebody's at the door, she'll give me a call. I'll call, oh, so-and-so's at the door. Okay. I can remote access and allow people into her home. And that, I think that it was a big thing, worrying about, oh, who's home, who's not home, did so-and-so leave, and making sure that I am able, say, even in the case of an emergency, one thing is letting in her caregivers, on a daily basis to provide care to her. But I think a big thing hit me, and this because of a patient, a client that we were in the process of admitting to our agency, who lived alone, 94-year-old. Yeah, she was 94 years old. And she would get up to open the door when the caregivers came. And I remember the first day that we came to do the assessment, to look at the home and assess for safety. Her granddaughter brought us into the house. And the first time I said, well, if you weren't here, like, who opens the door when the caregiver gets there? And she said, oh, my grandmother opens the door. I walked inside and saw this woman with these huge swollen legs. And I'm like, wait, how does she get up to open the door if her legs are? And I looked at her granddaughter, who was a physical therapist. And I said, well, how does she get up and open the door? And she was like, oh, well, she gets up and opens the door. Kid you not, I believe on three different occasions after we left and performed that assessment, she was unable to get up, and they had to call the fire department to break down the door to get her off the floor. We never actually, initiated care with her because she eventually passed away. And that, to me, I'm saying it's sad. I remember coming into home and giving, a lot of ideas to change, to implement technology so that she can see outside, and she would have access to open the door. And her son lived, I think she was in New Jersey, her son was upstate New York, and And the granddaughter was the one who kind of lived nearby and could drive and come and check on her on a weekly basis. But the granddaughter had 3 children herself. So it was very difficult for her to consistently be there. Mm. Just have to take a minute because I'm thinking about, I want to call it the pressure, just consistently, always looking at, how can I prevent this? How can I prevent that? How can I create the safest situation for both my mom and for the person caring for her? Because the person caring for her, I need them to consistently be able to do that. So I need to create a situation that's conducive to that, making sure that they have all the tools, all the necessary tools. And again, I'm not talking about diapers and wipes and A&D ointment and Bomex and Vaseline and gloves, like, masks, all those type of things. But the DME, the durable medical equipment, the hospital bed that you can raise so that the person doesn't have to, bend over too low to shift and position my mom in this case, a wheelchair, when she's up to getting out of the bed, so that she could be wheeled around the house and feel like, wow, I changed position, like I said, there's an oxygen tank and a compressor machine and a lot of the electronic devices that we have put in the home and to implement some technology to create some autonomy for her so she could turn the TV on her own and she could turn the light on, you know, through a command. Alexa, turn off the light, hey Google, put it on YouTube. All these little things that um, may seem like, I don't want to say nothing, but they seem small, but they can be very big and can really create a better quality of life. And it's weird for me, like obviously I'm here talking to you guys, so I use technology, right? And this is a lot for me, you know, um, talking to people on YouTube, but sharing my story, I see it as a way to help other people. I see it as a way to connect with other people. And when you are in the throes of doing this day in and day out, this is about human connection. This is about helping, right? And a lot of times, and this I'm talking about, interacting online, interacting on a platform such as this, helping myself. And I'm very clear about that. Like it's not something that um this is an opportunity for me to let it out, vent, um, show the good, the bad, and the ugly of doing this type of work. And where I started, like today was very difficult. And in this journey, in this story, it was one of those days where you're trying to figure out why is it so hard? Like, or why is everything going wrong? And I think one of the best parts of my day is when my mom called me and thanked me for, you know, oh, they came and they cleaned me up oh, so and so got me something to eat, and this person did this, and that person did that, and just hearing um, that she feels cared for, hearing that she feels safe, and um, and funny enough, clean. Feeling clean is such a big deal when you're bedbound. It's such a big deal, and I'm glad that she has me. I'm glad that I'm the one in this current, in this position to to provide the care to her. And I actually, at some point, I think I want to open up these conversations. Maybe I'll do it live. Maybe I'll live stream. I'm not doing that right now. Maybe I will live stream because I think it is worth having that discussion, having that conversation. People, when they're calling for services, when they call the agency, I get a chance to have that conversation, and find out what the, where the tough spots are for that particular person. If again, a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a granddaughter, because I have grandchildren who are involved in coordinating and caring, definitely when the loved ones are much older, like grandkids are the ones who are stepping up and coordinating services and being there for their grandmother, their grandfather, or their great aunt. So I want to create an opportunity for other people, obviously, to share their stories. And I will be doing more of that, having other people share their stories. And one of the things, like I think I said, Tanya Straker, I believe I said that right. Um, I want to go over the points that she raises in that caregiver guide that she brought to our attention. And I believe that was my second podcast. So my second episode. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys again. Have a good evening.